Don't be a peacock. Now, what do I mean by that? And I want to share today a little story with you about a recent call I had with a business owner who installs electric charge points to residential customers as well as commercial customers. So it's when you've got an electric car, you've probably seen them popping up in lots of places throughout the UK and on your travels at petrol stations and people's houses. It's when you have an electric car, you obviously need to charge it to give it power to get from A to B. Now, he was having great difficulty in his sales. He was getting loads of inbound inquiries, but the conversion rate was really, really low. And we did some investigation, and it was really apparent quite quickly what was happening. So his team member that was doing the sales, he said he is fantastic. He knows everything there is to know about electric cars. And I asked him, but you're not selling electric cars, you're selling the charge points. And he didn't really see the connection. But what was happening was that the team member that was doing his sales was actually bombarding the conversation and the prospect with information they really didn't need to know. They'd already bought their electric car. They didn't need to know the ins and outs of how things actually work with their car and other things that were just really distracting from what they'd really got in touch for. They wanted to find out how they could get an electric point installed at their home, if we're going with their residential customer, how much it was going to cost. So I clearly sort of laid out a map for my client to say, listen, your customer actually wants to know the results they're going to get from working with you. So you need to explain to them that you come and do a survey maybe of their, of the outside space and where the best place to put the socket is. How quickly does it charge? Does it charge as quick as they make a cup of tea because they forgot to charge it last night and they can pop out to the point next to the door in their dressing gown and slippers? You know, it's those kind of things the customer wants to hear. They don't want to hear about the megawatts and how long the lead is, perhaps. You have to really hone in on the outcomes that your clients are going to get from working with you. What really is going to appeal to them? And I think you'll find in this case, it certainly wasn't all the technical information around electric cars. So they made some really quick changes and suddenly went from having 10 inbound leads a day and converting 2, maybe 3 if they were lucky, to converting 8 or 9 out of 10. Also, they introduced another technique that I explained to them about disqualifying. So very early on, you need to decide and determine in your conversation, are they ready to buy? What stage are they at? And change your conversation, change your approach with them, depending on where they are in that actual purchase cycle. For instance, with this specific client, did they already own the car, or were they just looking and getting pricing and getting a feel for what the additional costs were going to be from owning the vehicle? So those sort of things I just want to leave there with you. Don't be that peacock where you're strutting your stuff and sharing your knowledge and showing how brilliant you are when actually you're not in service of your lead, of your prospect, your customer often that's perhaps coming back to buy something else. Think really carefully and don't be a peacock.